For today's video, we're going to be taking a look at all of the heroes, weapons, and traps that I've gotten up to this point. For those who don't know, I've been playing this game for 6 months. As you can see, we have 179 days logged in, so we're right at that 6-month mark. Also, a lot of people have been asking to see the perks that I have on my traps and weapons, and what perks I normally tend to try to go for. And yeah, I thought this would be a good time to stop and look back at all of the weapons, heroes, and traps we've gotten. And first we're going to start off with the traps, and then we'll do the weapons, and then I'll show you all of my heroes. And these are the traps that I used for the last 2 Plankerton defenses, as well as my Canny Valley Storm Shield defenses. One of the best traps that I have at the moment are these wall dynamos. These are my go-to when I feel like we need some traps to do some damage. These are usually the ones that I'll use. And as of right now, these are the only traps that I have leveled up to 4 stars. And as you can see, the perks that came with it were trap damage, crit damage ×2, and crit chance ×2. And honestly, I feel like this is the best roll you could get on your wall dynamos. I know a lot of people would disagree because I know some people prefer to have reload speed and max durability. But when it comes to my DPS traps, I prefer to try to get as many perks to increase my damage as much as possible. As a matter of fact, the only traps I prefer to have reload speed are my launcher traps, my wall launchers, and my floor launchers, which I'll go over shortly. We also have the ceiling zapper. You can see the perks that came with that. We have crit chance ×2, max durability ×2, as well as trap damage. And for me personally, I would prefer to have either trap damage or crit damage instead of max durability. And I just got these wall darts not too long ago. The perks that came with it were trap damage, crit chance, max durability, reload speed, and crit damage, which is a pretty decent roll for wall darts in my opinion. The only thing I would change with these wall darts are max durability. I would prefer to either have reload speed or crit damage. Now when it comes to launcher traps, I do recommend that you get some reload speed on your wall and floor launchers. As you can see, we have impact and knockback ×2, as well as reload speed ×2 and max durability. And I kind of feel like max durability is a good perk to have on launcher traps as well, because I noticed that a lot of times they'll end up running out of uses, whether it be during storm shield defenses or in regular missions. They really don't have that many uses, so max durability is a decent perk to have on launcher traps. I also prefer to have impact and knockback as well, because not only does it launch the husk further, but it also makes our trap designs a little more consistent in regards to the catapult and the slingshot. So yeah, this is a really good roll for a wall launcher in my opinion. Here are the perks that came with my wooden floor spikes. And I end up using these a lot to slow the husk down and give my other traps a chance to reload, because as you saw, my DPS traps don't really have a whole lot of reload speed. We also got an epic version of the ceiling drop trap that came with reload speed, crit chance, crit damage, and trap damage. And I think that's a pretty decent roll for a ceiling drop trap. We also have the ceiling electric field trap, and as you can see, we also have a pretty decent roll on these as well. We have crit chance ×2, crit damage, and reload speed. When it comes to my gas traps, we have crit chance ×2, reload speed, and crit damage. And that's the same exact roll that we have on our ceiling electric field traps. Now as of right now, I have 2 different floor launchers. One is an epic version. This one has impact and knockback and reload speed ×3. And again, reload speed is a really good perk when it comes to launchers. Impact and knockback is probably the second best perk, and max durability is probably the third. So yeah, these are the floor launchers that I've been using up to this point. I did get a legendary version of the floor launchers not too long ago, which I haven't leveled up yet. And as you see, this one came with impact and knockback ×3, max durability, and reload speed. And here are the perks that came with my retractable floor spikes. Definitely not a good roll when it comes to the perks. We only have trap damage, reload speed, max durability ×2. And like I said earlier, I don't really want max durability on my DPS traps. I would prefer to have either crit chance or crit damage or more trap damage. But these are the only epic version of retractable floor spikes that I've gotten up to this point, so these are the ones that we've been using. We also have a rare version of the freeze trap that came with nothing but reload speed, which is a really good roll for freeze traps. We also got some new wall lights not too long ago. I used to have an epic version, but I recently got this legendary version, so we're leveling this one up at the moment. And for those who don't know, wall lights don't actually do damage. The more stun time, the better in my opinion, but max durability and reload speed are also pretty decent perks you want on your wall lights. We also have wall spikes, which I don't really use that often, but they came with trap damage, crit chance, and reload speed. I also got a new healing pad not too long ago that came with max durability ×2, reload speed ×2, and an increase in the healing amount. And again, these are my new legendary floor launchers that I haven't tested out yet. And we also have a green version of a patrol ward because I've yet to get a rare or epic or legendary version of the patrol ward yet. And I kind of wanted to test it out during some missions, so that's why we have that one. I don't really use the patrol ward that often though. And yeah, we actually have a lot of good rolls on our traps. A couple of our traps could use some better rolls like our retractable floor spikes. But for the most part, all of our other traps have some pretty decent rolls on them. Next up, we're going to look at all of my melee weapons. And I did get a lot more melee weapons than you see here, but I put a lot of them in the collections book or use them for transformations. And these are the ones that we have as of now. This first one is the pulverizer, which I got from the Survive the Storm event. Damage, crit chance, and an increase in weapon damage are all really good perks. And yeah, this one does energy damage, which means it's going to be effective against all elemental types. Next up, we have the vacuum tube sword, which deals nature damage. And I got this one from the Survive the Holidays winter event. It came with damage ×2, crit chance ×2, and damage to stun, staggered, and knock down targets. Not necessarily the best roll, but it's still pretty decent compared to some of the rolls you could get. As you can see, we only have it leveled up to level 31 out of 40, so we'll try to finish leveling this one up later today and get some gameplay of it within the next day or two. And next up, we have the pressure cutter, which is the sword that I got from the first Survive the Storm event. This one came with crit chance ×2, damage ×2. This sword also causes affliction for 6 seconds. And it has an increase in weapon damage and changes the weapon damage to energy, so it's going to be effective against all elemental types. And yeah, these are the 3 melee weapons that I've been using lately. I haven't really used any of the other ones I'm about to show you, but I'm gonna go ahead and show you the perks that came with those as well. We also have the head clipper, which I believe came with the Horde Bash event. It came with damage ×3 and a decrease in heavy attack energy cost ×2. We also have the socket slugger that came with damage ×3, a decrease in heavy attack energy cost, and this one also causes affliction damage for 6 seconds. The damage type was changed to water, so it's going to be effective against fire enemies, and that last perk also increased weapon damage as well. So yeah, I kept this one because I wanted to try it out, but I haven't leveled it up yet, so we may try to get some gameplay of that one day. But we also got the Fortnite Slugger, and that came with crit chance, crit damage ×2. It does nature damage and causes affliction damage for 6 seconds. And I kind of feel like the rolls that came with this epic version are better than the rolls that I got on my legendary version. And this one came with crit chance, damage to stun, staggered, and knock down targets ×2, as well as a decrease in durability decay. We also got the Clax, which is the axe that has the antlers on it. And this one came with crit damage, heavy attack energy cost, damage ×2, and damage to stun, staggered, and knock down targets. And just like with my baseball bats, I kind of feel like my epic version of the Clax has a better roll than my legendary one. This one came with crit chance, crit damage ×2, as well as more damage. So I sort of got unlucky when it comes to my legendary Clax and my legendary Fortnite Slugger. Anyways, we also have the vacuum tube axe, and this one came with damage to slowed and snared targets ×2. This axe also snares the target by 30% for 6 seconds, which is good considering we have 2 damage to slowed and snared target perks. It also has damage to afflicted targets as well as crit damage. And last up, we have the vacuum tube spear, which came with damage, crit chance, a decrease in heavy attack energy cost, as well as a decrease in durability decay. But yeah, that's about it when it comes to all my melee weapons. Last up, we're going to take a look at my ranged weapons. And as you see, we have a lot of ranged weapon schematics, so I'm just going to try to quickly run through these because I know the video's probably already gone on long enough. Anyways, first up, we have my vacuum tube launcher, and that came with damage ×2, reload speed, crit chance, increase of weapon damage, and causes affliction for 6 seconds. We also have the lightning pistol, which I got some gameplay of yesterday, but you can see the perks that came with that one as well. We also have the vacuum tube rifle, which I didn't really like, and I think the reason I didn't like it is because it's semi-automatic and it didn't have a really good roll on it. We also have Ralphie's Revenge, which I absolutely love. I know not everybody likes it, but I love it. And the Ralphie's Revenge Sniper has static perks, which means everybody's going to have the same perks on their Ralphie's Revenge. And for those who don't know, I got this from the Survive the Holidays winter event in the event store. We also got the snowball launcher, which I got from the Survive the Holidays winter event quest line. Next up, we have the Hydra, which is one of the best assault weapons in the game. And I got this from the first Survive the Storm event. and this one also has static rows as well. I did sort of ruin my Hydra. You may have noticed that it's obsidian instead of shadow shard. Now for those who haven't gotten up to the point where you have to choose between obsidian and shadow shard, the way I think most people prefer to do it is they want to level up their assault rifles and pistols and snipers with shadow shard, and I think most people also prefer to level up their rocket launchers with obsidian. So that's the approach I plan on using when it comes to upgrading your weapons. Upgrade your rocket launchers to obsidian and upgrade your other weapons to shadow shard. Like I said, I accidentally upgraded my Hydra using obsidian instead of shadow shard. Be on the lookout for that once you start leveling up your weapons to 4 stars. Next up we have the shadow shard Gravedigger, and I got this from the Halloween event, and this one also has a static roll on it. You can see the perks that came with it. We also got the Frostbite Sniper, which I haven't shown gameplay of yet, but I believe I got this as a reward from the winter event holiday quest line. I don't think a whole lot of people have requested gameplay of the Frostbite, but if y'all would like to see gameplay of it, let us know in the comments below. We also got the Jack-o'-Launcher, which I got from the Halloween event. You can see the perks that came with that. We also got this Vindertech Blaster. We also got the Vindertech Blazer, which I've uploaded gameplay of. And we also have the Disintegrator, which I've also uploaded gameplay of. And I'll leave a link to all these gameplays in the description if you want to go check them out. And we also got the Riptide pistol, which I got from the first Horde Bash event. I've also uploaded gameplay of this as well. We also have the Dam Buster, which came from the first Survive the Storm event. And that has a pretty decent roll on it. Came with a lot of crit damage as well as damage. The thing I like most about this Dam Buster is that it does water damage. And before I got my snowball launcher, this was the only rocket launcher that I had that did water damage. Anyways, we also got the trash cannon, which is another weapon that I got from the first Horde Bash event. We also got a legendary bazooka, which has a really good roll on it. It has damage times 4 as well as crit chance. Probably one of my best rolls when it comes to rocket launchers. We also got the nailer, which is another weapon from the first Survive the Storm event. It has a pretty decent roll, but it doesn't do any energy or elemental damage, so I didn't bother leveling it up. We also got the Haywire Storm, came with headshot damage, damage to slow and snare targets, crit damage times 2 as well as an increase in damage. And all of the weapons after this point I haven't leveled up at all, and I haven't tried them out at all, but I went ahead and kept them in case one day I did want to level them up. But first we got the Room Sweeper, which is a shotgun. You can see the perks that came with it. Headshot damage, reload speed, crit chance, damage, and fire rate. We also got the Sunsetter, which is the sniper that came with the Horde Bash event. That came with headshot damage times 2, damage, reload speed, and a decrease in recoil. We also got the Vindertech Jolter, which came with the Vindertech event. And that came with damage, crit damage, damage to stun, staggered, and knockdown times 2, as well as headshot damage. And this sniper also does energy damage. We also got the Vindertech Pulsar, which came with the Vindertech event, and this is the assault rifle. Not necessarily the best rolls, and I think that's one of the reasons why I didn't level it up, but this one also requires energy ammo and does energy damage. We also got the Monsoon, which I got last week from the event tab under the weekly section. So yeah, just got that last week. Haven't had a chance to level it up yet, but this one does fire damage. It also has an increase in fire rate, increase in damage times 2, and increase in crit chance. So it's actually a pretty decent roll, not too bad, but we do have some other weapons we need to level up before we level this one up. We also got another vacuum tube launcher, and we also got a Viper, which I got from a llama. That came with crit damage, damage to afflicted, another increase in damage, and damage to slowed and snared targets. Not necessarily the best roll. And we also got a couple more vacuum tube weapons. These are only epic, and I haven't leveled them up yet, but we have the tube revolver that came with this roll, and we have the vacuum tube sniper rifle that came with this roll. So I'm probably gonna end up keeping these if I don't get the legendary versions of them, just to show some gameplay for those who wanted to see it. And the last thing I wanted to quickly go over were all of my heroes. So as of right now, I only have one mythic hero, who's Phase Scout Jess. We got Blitzing Base Kyle, Fragment Flurry Jess, Hazard the 13th, Machinist Harper, Marine Corps Ramirez, Plasma Specialist Isa, Ranger Beetle Jess. We also got Sarah Claus, Sarah Hotep, the Lamurai, Skull Trooper Jonesy, Snow Stalker Jonesy, Urban Assault Headhunter, Gunblazer, and the Raider Headhunter. And I believe we've uploaded gameplay of all of these heroes except the Gunblazer. Usually we end up putting him in our tactical slot. Next up we have Ranger Deadeye, which is the same thing as Beetle Jess. Dim Mac Mari, which was one of my first favorite heroes Right now I'm trying to level her up and upgrade her rarity to legendary because I would like to play with her some more. Haven't played with her in a few months. We also got Bloodfinder AC from the Halloween event, Cat Structor from Halloween, another Pathfinder, Commando Ramirez, Brawler Luna, and Energy Thief Mari. And I actually wanted to level up my Brawler Luna before we got gameplay of the new vacuum tube sword, but it's probably going to be a couple more days before I level her up, so let me know which you would prefer. Do you want to see the vacuum tube sword as soon as possible, or would you like it if I leveled up some heroes so we could try a new hero loadout with the vacuum tube sword? Let me know in the comments below. Anyways, we also have Power Base Nox, which I haven't leveled up yet, Enforcer Grizzly, Recon Scout Eagle Eye, which I got from the weekly event tab. We also got Rescue Trooper Ramirez, Special Forces Banshee, Vanguard Southie, Assassin Sarah, Blue Streak Assassin Ken, Sergeant Jonesy, which I kind of want to try out his support and tactical squad bonuses. We also got Deadly Blade Scorpion, which is another hero I wanted to level up before we tried out the vacuum tube sword because he has some perks that help you do more damage with your swords. We also got Fleetfoot Ken, which is probably one of the fastest heroes in the game. And we also have another raider, Headhunter. And the reason I have two of them is because she has that adjustable choke squad bonus, which is going to increase your crit hit rate with shotgun. So whenever I use my first raider Headhunter, I can put her in the support slot, do a little bit more damage with my shotguns. And yeah, I think that about sums up all of the heroes, weapons, and traps that I've gotten after 6 months. Anyways, if there's any heroes or weapons that I have that you would like to see gameplay of, or any loadouts you would like to see gameplay of, let me know in the comments below. Anyways, I hope y'all enjoyed the video or found it useful, and thanks